350 and now 7 and 75 and 350 all through 75 and where 350 and about that 375 4
This yearling is being auctioned off at the Keeneland Summer Select sale in Lexington, Kentucky, where the world's top thoroughbreds are sold. Horse breeder Tom Gentry paid $320,000 for her 6 months ago, and is gambling he can sell her for nearly twice that tonight. This week on Enterprise, fast horse in a bull market.
I'm Eric Severide. Last year, Americans bet $5.5 billion at the racetrack. They lost more than they won. But many of the people who own the horses that raced here were big winners. For them, the odds have been good for years. Some of the richest people in the world invest in thoroughbreds, just as they invest in diamonds or fine paintings. Like the rest of us, except with more money, they are seeking an investment that keeps ahead of inflation. And thoroughbred prices have done just that, tripling in the past 5 years. But will the boom last? The thoroughbred market, like any other, is filled with uncertainty. This week, we will follow a horse breeder as he tries to double his money with a filly, as you will see.
Eloise? Hi, honey.
Tom Gentry of Lexington, Kentucky, is in the business of producing thoroughbred racehorses. He has helped turn the sport of kings into a money machine.
Okay, well, I've got a mirror phone. I'll call him back. Will he be home in a half an hour? Okay, hon.
Last year, Gentry made history by selling a yearling for $1.6 million. Every spring, some 50 brood mares on his farm give birth. Gentry sells most of the foals a year later as yearlings, but some he keeps to produce still more foals. This mare has given birth to more than $1 million worth of offspring. In a few hours, this foal will be insured for $300,000.
Billy's asleep and he's got his left front leg sticking out. He's asleep, the colt's asleep, and everybody's asleep. Look sharp, Billy, wake up. Ricky, got your muscles in order? All right, get the best filly in the sale. I'm gonna start you out right. Sire, dam, and hip number, $2.
There's a $2 bonus for farm hands who can recite the pedigrees of Gentry's yearlings, a rehearsal for the Keeneland auction just 3 weeks away.
Got this guy standing over here worth $100 million, and he's got 100 horses to look at, and he's in a hurry. And if you don't run to the stall and bring him out, he's going to turn around and go somewhere else. All right, get your best filly in the sale. Hoist the flag, Summit Joy.
Of the 12 yearlings he's selling at Keeneland, this is the prize. She was raised by another breeder, but Gentry thought so much of her potential, he bought her for $320,000 6 months ago. He hopes to auction her off for at least $500,000. Why would anyone pay that much? Because of her pedigree, her bloodline. Her father is Hoist the Flag, a champion racehorse that sired other champions, including Alleged. Her mother is Summit Joy, a champion too. She produced Himalayan, another winner. So the Hoist the Flag filly, as she's called, has the potential to become both a great racehorse herself and the mother of other big winners. But that doesn't mean she's a sure thing.
Approximately the middle of May, the Hoist the Flag filly developed what we call sesamoids, and it just more or less came up overnight. And the sesamoids are the joints right behind the horse's ankle. And what happens, there's a little bone on each corner. Normally, they're very tight together. In this case, they're starting to really go out to a point. And gee, sometimes they never bother them, and you can x-ray and all that. But one thing I knew immediately, if I was going to had any idea of reselling this filly, this was fatal if we couldn't do something about it.
2 weeks before the auction, the vet makes a house call.
Don't you think that? Right. there is some slight improvement, but not enough to be very hopeful. And after removing the cast, the sesamoids were still very prominent. They were slightly reduced, but not to the extent that we would have liked to have seen. So Dr. McGee, if you were to know him, he's a very quiet man, is respected as the greatest vet probably in the world today. It's like a living legend. He stands off and ponders about what treatment to prescribe. Almost at the same time, I'm pondering about, gee, what am I going to do? I've got $320,000 invested. There's no way I can sell her. She's in the summer sale. I want to sell her. And if we cannot get these sesamoids and ankles reduced to normal, then I'm in for taking a big bath.
But Gentry isn't panicking because, like most business people, he spreads the risk. He owns the Hoist the Flag filly with a partner, real estate magnate Robert Meyerhoff.
Even the richest people in the country now are syndicating and sharing the risk with by buying into syndicates and buying in partnerships. It's very rarely now a horse is sold that isn't a partnership deal.
Gentry owns most of his horses with partners, including actor Lee Majors and basketball star Dan Issel. What attracts them? Partner and local sportscaster Tom Hammond explains.
The horses that Tom has bought, invariably, he buys, say, a mare in foal, invariably the first foal that he sells pays for that mare. So that's the biggest selling point is success, the fact that you can buy a mare for, say, $100,000 and then a year later sell her foal for $100,000 or more and still have the mare.
And that mare will go on producing more foals and more profits. Yearling prices have tripled in 5 years. The market for the top bloodlines is doing even better.
Here's the mare and foal Seattle Slough.
You also get big tax advantages. You can deduct your mare's upkeep from your income and then deduct her cost as she ages. That's called depreciation. If you want a safe investment, buy a mare. Even if your horses can't outrun a snail, she can still produce winners in the breeding shed. But if you want something riskier, invest in a stallion. A stallion that can't win at the track will be a near total loss, but a champion will make you rich. After Triple Crown winner Affirmed here won $2 million in purses, he was syndicated, his owner selling shares in his hectic new life as a stud for $12 million. His stud fee per mare, $150,000. During the breeding season, he'll service a harem of 50. The really big money is in breeding, not racing. That's why a horse breeder with high-quality mares does so well. Why Tom Gentry is a self-made millionaire at the top of his profession.
The satisfaction of raising a good horse is what I want to do more than anything in the whole world. I started out 20 years ago. I was competing against all the heavyweights, and the old established families have been here forever and ever. And I would stack my horsemanship up against anyone's at any time. My father had always worked and bred top horses for the people he worked for, and my goal was, when I got out of college, was to go out on my own.
Gentry invaded the world of the gentry by working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. Every morning at 7 during the breeding season, he personally checks each of his mares to see if she's in heat. He's his own quality control expert. He's also a master of promotion.
Now, should we write down the order they come out, these fillies?
Tell me, I'll put it here on the natural sound. Which one is it?
This is a Hoist the Flag. Summit Joy.
Hoist the Flag, Summit Joy.
Some of these.
A week before the auction, Gentry gets together with partner Tom Hammond and a freelance television crew. They make a short promotional videotape for each yearling, Gentry's latest marketing gimmick for Keeneland.
All right, David. Let her rip.
Al-Hatab like a charm.
Send her up!
The key to Tom's success has been his flair for promotion. It's not always set well with people in Central Kentucky because by nature the Central Kentucky horse people are very conservative.
Now, I'll get an Academy Award for her. She brings 100. I'll sprinkle daisies on me forever. Wake up, Edward, you're gonna get hugged.
An expert could tell that this horse has slightly crooked legs, but when Gentry shows her to a buyer, he can always create a diversion.
I'll get somebody about myself, my size, about my width, and just walk right in front of her so they can't see her. And then I'll be standing, look at that dumb son of a bitch, you can't get any help today worth a damn. Look how he's leading that yearling. There are all sorts of tricks to the ragged neck.
Fortunately, the vet has some tricks of his own, which he carefully performs for the Hoist the Flag filly.
Sometimes when now post time,
Yeah.
it looks great. This one does. This was the worst.
X-rays on those things were clean. They weren't. It did show just a little immaturity. I think the sesamoid itself is pretty well cooled out.
We're still not out of the woods totally, but we're 90% out of the woods, and we were 50% a week ago. I think she's a dynamite filly, and I'd like to keep her anyway. So whoever buys her, they're going to have to give some money for her.
You are so beautiful. To me.
So the Hoist the Flag filly is finally ready to go to the highest bidder. Or is she? Suddenly, Gentry has second thoughts.
At this point, I don't know, but I have the strong feeling that I'm not going to be able to sell as many yearlings as I thought I would, simply for the tax structure of the situation I'm in. Yeah, well, I got a little bit of farm. And what about these houses and carry on?
Ironically, Gentry may make too much money this year.
Yeah.
His accountant is projecting a $2 million profit, which would put him in too high a tax bracket.
And you've got me 2 to the good? About 2 even?
If that projection holds true, most of the profit for the Hoist the Flag filly would go to Uncle Sam.
Right.
So he might want to keep her. When will he know for sure? Not until the last minute.
Well, all right. All right, honey. One of the factors determining if I'm going to sell her will be how much income I have received up to the time in which she's sold. And she's very late in the sale, and I will have sold 8 yearlings out of the 12 prior to her. So at this point, I'll have a good idea on how I'm doing. And if I'm doing well, then it may influence my judgment on my decision to sell her.
On the morning before the auction, Gentry has a lot on his mind, and so does his youngest farmhand.
31, Rice Hill Native, Canadiana Peach. 303, Hoist the Flag, Summit Joy.
Ricky has finally memorized all the bloodlines.
314, the Gentry White Line.
Just about.
All right, that's good, very good, Ricky. But let me ask you one question.
What's that?
Who is 231 by?
Rice Hill Native.
Rise Hill Native? Think.
Raise Hill Native.
Raise Hill Native, that's awful close. Now, if you take the hill out, what would you have?
Raise a Native.
I knew you knew it. You got me, Ricky. Good boy. Good. Okay, now when we get out there, if we do that, we're in business.
Now it's off to Keeneland, a half-hour's drive that takes half the day.
Entries are the main risk, and they can come in any size, shape, or form. Actually, he could bang the stall screen the night before the sale and have an enlargement in the knee. Even though it's just superficial and the horseman would know it, his value might go from $1 million down to 200,000 just off of that one little hit. So we do everything but practically sleep with it.
Oh, look at this.
All right, Mickey, push. That's it. Tell them to go on.
Keeneland at last. As the horses settle in, Gentry gives his first TV interview.
What happens between now and the time that these yearlings go in that sales ring? How do you handle it? How do you cope with it? It's got to be a pressure cooker.
Okay with it, I guess it's like anything else. Maybe a football coach the night before the playoffs or Super Bowl or something. I'm sure they don't get much sleep either. And it's pressurized, but us old veterans are supposed to know how to handle it, but you never learn how to handle it.
This is the marketplace. During the next 4 days, 300 of the world's finest thoroughbreds will be sold here. Buyers with $60 million to spend are looking for another Secretariat or Seattle Slough. This year's leading prospect is expected to go for $2 million. He's owned by Kentucky aristocrat Seth Hancock of Claiborne Farms. Who can afford such prices? Silver-plated billionaire Nelson Bunker Hunt, for one, and Lebanese tycoon Mohammed Fustok for another. Foreign businessmen like Fustok and Ireland's Tom Cooper find American investments attractive. Cooper represents European clients who've been shopping here for years.
We've got a space here now. You could have a look at our wolves. Racing used to be a sport. Now it's a business, and a big business. Horses have become a sort of international currency. I think at the moment the American horse is the best horse in the world, and I'm Irish, so that that's very hard for me to admit to. But after the last World War, shrewd American breeders bought a lot of the best bloodlines from Europe. We've got to try and get some of it back, if we can afford it.
Cooper's syndicate is led by Robert Sangster, who made his fortune as a government licensed bookmaker in England. He's as sharp a buyer as Gentry is a seller. So is Japanese businessman Kazuo Nakamura. He paid the record $1.6 million for a Gentry yearling at last year's auction. This year, Gentry is courting him shamelessly.
See you tonight. We'll have a good time tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We're going to dance
Arigato.
tonight. Yeah.
Gentry's sales strategy also includes an extravaganza at his farm.
Let's just say that I have a potential new buyer here. And he came to our party, and he was entertaining Roy. He had great food and was terribly impressed. And he had 2 yearlings he wanted to buy for $500,000 apiece. And one of them belonged to Tom Gentry, and one of them belonged to Joe Jones. My feeling, hopefully, would be that he would be there to bid on Tom Gentry's first.
He even rents a helicopter for his guests to go sightseeing. And that's not all.
I'm so happy to be here, playing a tent. Can you imagine this? God, I went to vaudeville, to Broadway, to radio, to pictures, to television. I wind up in a tent in Lexington, Kentucky. Where? So I flew up here, and I met Tom today, and he's wonderful. He's walking around with all that money. God damn. He's got a money belt that's dragging him down. $1.6 million for one horse. Sold it to that Japanese fella. Isn't it nice that they're buying transportation from us for a change? Huh?
All right. Very appreciate your invitation.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time.
Once upon a time, Keeneland was a quiet, genteel place, but that was before Tom Gentry.
Well, did you? Hope you had a good time. This is a year to buy from Gentry. Sells more stakes winners than anybody out here. Chuck, I got a Here Comes the Bride filly over here for you in a minute. Filly got a little cut on her hind leg there and it jumped out in the skin, and I've got x-rays. It amounts to nothing. The bargain basement. Hello,
Fillies from Tom Gentry's 1980 Keeneland Summer Sales consignment is this beautiful bay, hip number 303, by Hoist the Flag. Out of
While buyers wait to see our filly, sales number 303, they can always watch TV.
Hoist the Flag, the champion 2-year-old who transmitted his courage and ability to his offspring.
You'd never know she had a problem with sesamoids. As in most markets, the rule here is let the buyer beware.
If they have a broken leg, let them see it. You can volunteer anything to them. What one person sees a lot of times, most of them see things that aren't there, 90% of them. You'll see all that. They'll start picking on the color before this week's over.
I don't like to ask a vendor or consignor about the secrets of his horse any more than I want him to ask me the secrets of our money. But it's not fair to ask him, and I don't, because if you ask, no questions shall tell no lies.
Selling Tuesday night, hip number 303, a filly by the great Hoist the Flag out of Summit Joy by Hillrise, half-sister to graded stakes winner Himalayan. Like all Tom Gentry fillies, raised with care, but turned out to toughen up and get the exercise that builds strong bodies.
The final day at Keeneland, and Gentry is down to his last souvenir umbrella. He's about to meet secretly with Tom Hammond, who's also the Keeneland sales announcer. They'll decide our filly's fate.
This is a filly you can't go but one way with this. You can't outrun a fat man. She's worth $250,000, and I happen to believe she can run. The only problem that's ever going to be with her is keeping her sound, and she's sound now, and I'm willing to take a chance. If I keep her, I'm going to turn her out for a year and forget about her. Yeah. So just put a $495,000 reserve on her. Okay. Make her bring 500. Anything under 500, I want her. Sure.
So he's decided to sell her if someone bids higher than his $500,000 reserve bid, and if his other yearlings don't bring such fabulous prices that his taxes will soar. Two big ifs. The pressure is on. Now the market takes over. It's been a spectacular sale so far, and Gentry hopes it stays that way. The buyers hope prices have peaked. First horse is owned by Gentry, who expects more than $200,000. The bidder's strategy: decide what the horse is worth and go no higher.
And I'm going to give 130, 150, I got 75, 100, thank you, 25. On the left, Charlie, 100 in the minute, 25. At 100 in the minute, 25, you're right over there now, 25. At 100 in the minute, 25, 100 and 25. At 100 in the minute, 25.
It's early, and the sparse attendance becomes a factor in the bidding.
Look at 25, two places, 150. At 175, 85, all through at 175. Here we go, 175, 85 to 175, and Dale, 175,000, thank you.
A disappointing price, but who knows how the market will treat his next horse. Gentry hopes for $200,000 plus.
Where's Tom? You bring some money.
Out of 110, out of 20, out of 20, out of 20, out of 20, all done. 110, 120,000, out of 20, divine. 110, 120, out of 20, out of 20, in a one, 120. 110, 120, 30, 120, 30, just under the wire, 120, 30.
I can't believe this.
30, 120.
I cannot believe this.
125, now 30, 150, 140, with a 50, and over 150, and with 140,000, and I have sold him 140,000.
Another low price. The market is turning against him, and both he and the buyer know it.
Congratulations, I think you made a hell of a buy.
But suddenly things pick up. Tom Cooper, standing behind the ring so he can't be seen by other bidders, goes after a horse raised by one of Gentry's competitors. Cooper wants it, and Robert Sangster gives him the go-ahead. Sold for $1,050,000. But when it's almost our filly's turn, the prices sink again. By the time Seth Hancock's star yearling comes up for sale, more than a few breeders are in shock.
Oh, I can't believe that. This is what the whole world was talking about, bringing $2 million.
Midnight. The Hoist the Flag filly is about to enter the ring. Now that Gentry's other yearlings have gone for less than expected, he wants to sell her for as much as he can get, as long as it's more than his $500,000 reserve bid.
Hit number 303, the property of Tom Gentry, a bait filly by Hoist the Flag out of Summit Joy by Hillrise. Hoist the Flag champion 2-year-old and among the leading sires. Sire more than 20 stakes winners.
We'll give 100. 100, thank you. 150, you said 100, down 50. 100, watch him, Ryan. 2 in the 25. 25, 50. 285, D1 3, 85, 3. 3, 25. 3 in the 25, now you're out. 325. Thank you. Now 4. 385, I'm going to get 4. 4 in the minute 4. Are you on the left, Charlie? 385, 4. 85 in the minute 4. 4 in the minute 4. You're up, Polly, with it 4. 425 now, but in the 25 now, but do it. At 425, 50. 50. At 450, 60. 60, 75. At 460, 75. 75 in the minute 75, 85. At 475, in the minute 85 and 485, but do it. At 475, 85. I'll take 90, Charlie. 495. At 490, 5. 5 in the minute 5, and 5 in the minute 5. He said no one. Thank you. At 490 in the minute 5, and 5 in the minute 5, and 490 all through. 5 to 104, 90 and Charlie, 490,000. Thank you.
Almost, but not quite. The audience doesn't know it, but the $490,000 is Gentry's own bid. His partner, Robert Meyerhoff, signs for the horse. It's recorded as a sale, but Gentry keeps his filly. Except for Keeneland's 5% commission, no money changes hands.
It's been a tremendous market, but people get just scared to death. And consequently, this session, which is always in the past has been the best, I don't have a summary sheet in front of me, but it's got to be down. I almost bet you it's way down from last year. Well, you can look around in there. There wasn't enough people to start a poker game.
Has Gentry lost? No. Though the market was down tonight, he still made a $700,000 profit. As long as enough people think horses are a good investment, Tom Gentry will keep making hay, even when the sun doesn't shine.
So, we're mourning because he only brings 175,000. We only make 65,000 net in 1 year. All right. And we get a $250,000 mare for nothing. So this is how we're all mourning. So here we come along with a, what, $20,000 stud fee and get 110. Well, that's making money. Plus, Jim would take a little write-off. This mare, 85,000. Sold the foal she was carrying for 75, right? Sold the next foal for 325. Sir Ivory coat. And this coat, the bottom line is she's been nothing but an oil well, and in the foal, all we had in him was a $10,000 stud fee. This filly, you knew what I felt all along about the Hoist the Flag filly, and I'm just tickled death to have her back. I didn't want to sell her. And I knew the minute we looked into all the empty audience that we were dead. So I'm tickled death to have her back.
This program was presented by WGBH-TV, which is solely responsible for its content.